come down to our mat and start to tune in with the energy around you. Come back to your breath. Notice the energy of the earth underneath your body, supporting you in your yoga practice. And noticing your lungs expand as you breathe in and as they contract when you breathe out. Just taking a big breath in and then breathe out all that doesn't serve you. And another deep breath in and a deep breath out. So continue on, just keep being aware of your breath, settling into your yoga practice, arriving after the busyness of your morning. Scanning your body, noticing any areas that might be a little tight. Just breathing air into that space. And scanning your mind, noticing any thoughts, acknowledge them and let them go. Today, the theme of our practice is nature and allowing nature to help shield us from any energies that we don't need. There's been a lot of satellites that have been put up recently, and it's electrifying the earth a lot more and causing people to get sleep issues. So the more time we can spend in nature, especially under trees, is the better, because it'll help us to shield us from all those electromagnetic energy and vibrations. Let's lift our spine and starting to move our shoulders, circling, just gentle circles, getting yourself in a comfortable position. That's it, just rolling your shoulders back and then taking them the other way. And then taking our arms a little bit bigger circles. And back the other way. And then bringing your hands back to your knees. As you exhale, looking over your right shoulder, bring the left hand to the right knee and the right hand behind you. Coming into a nice twist and lifting your spine. And taking some deep breaths here. On each exhalation, allowing your body to twist a little more. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then coming back to center and then turn to the left side. Lifting the spine up nice and tall, looking over your left shoulder. And taking some deep breaths, softening your eyes. Two more breaths here. And then coming back to the front. Let's go from side to side now, stretching the side of our bodies. Breathe in as you come to center and exhale as you go to the side. Let's go one more on each side. And then coming to tabletop position. Having your knees underneath your hips, your hands nice and open, pressing your palms down to the earth. Nice long spine. And we're going to do some cat-cows. Inhaling, lifting up through the chest and lifting your gaze. Nice curve in your lower back. And exhale, draw your spine up towards the ceiling or the sky. Stretching out through the neck, looking through the knees towards the feet. And let's continue on, just moving with your breath. Let your breath initiate the movement. As you inhale, lifting your chest and raising your gaze. And as you exhale, raising your spine towards the ceiling and gazing through your legs towards your feet, stretching out through the shoulders and the neck. Coming back to the breath. Let's go 2 more rounds. And then taking your knees wide and sitting back on your heels, lifting your chest towards the sky and walking your hands forward, coming into child's pose. Bringing your forehead down towards the mat. You may like to use your bolster. You can lean over the bolster, bring your forehead down to the bolster and take some deep breaths here. Stretching out through the lower back. Let's take 4 more breaths here. On each exhalation, surrendering a little more into the pose. And last breath. Moving your bolster to the side. I'm going to take our hands forward and take our chest forward, coming into an upward dog. And exhale back into downward dog. Welcome, Jilda. We're just starting. Inhale, come up into your upward dog, raising the chest, raising your gaze, and exhale back to child's pose. And continue on using your breath to initiate the movement, getting some nice flexibility into your spine. Just feel it starting to warm up and allowing you to move a little more. Let's go 4 more rounds. And when you've done your 4 rounds, we'll meet back in tabletop. And we're going to go into downward dog, turning your toes under and lift up through the hips, walking your heels down towards the mat, stretching the back of your legs. Just taking some nice deep breaths here. And then we're going to go through a rotation of upward dog and downward dog, taking our last one a little further. So from here, you can bring your knees to the mat and inhale into upward dog. And then exhale, come back to downward dog. If you want to, you can actually have your knees off the mat, roll over the toes. It's up to you, whatever feels right for you today. So using your breath to initiate the movement. Let's go 4 more rounds. And last round. Nice. And then we'll meet back into downward dog. And this time we're going to come into downward dog and lift up one leg into 3-legged dog. So we're going to lift up our right leg and push down the left heel towards the ground. Just taking a few breaths here. And then when you bring that foot down, I want you to bring it down on the outside of your right hand into lizard pose. So you can bring your left knee down to the ground, or you can have it up. It's up to you. So we're stretching through that left hip flexor and opening through the right hip. Let's take a few more breaths here. Two more breaths. And then we're going to lift the left knee up off the ground and bring the right foot back down to downward dog. And this time we're going to lift our left foot up, bending the left knee, taking the foot up towards the ceiling, taking a few breaths here, allowing the right heel towards the ground. And then I'm going to get you to step forward with that left foot and bring the foot on the outside of the left hand. You can bring the right knee down to the ground, or you can lift the right knee up, whatever feels right. And feel the stretch this time on the left hip flexor and opening through the left hip. Let's take a few more breaths here. And then lift up the right knee and bring the left foot back next to the right foot into downward dog. Pushing your heels down towards the mat. Stretching through the upper shoulders. And then coming back down to tabletop. And from here, we'll come to standing position. And we'll go into a warrior sequence. So we've got our left foot slightly turned out, stepping forward with the right foot, having our shoulders and our hips facing forward, and our right heel in line with our left arch. Inhale, lift the arms, lift the chest, and the taking it through the left hip. Lifting up as if you've got a beach ball, you're lifting up towards the sky. Let's take 4 breaths here. Slowing down the breath. Put your hand on it and inhale, lift up the left hand towards the ceiling. And let's take a few breaths here. Noticing a stretch through the right leg, through the back of the leg, and stretching through the front of the chest, lifting up and looking towards the left hand. 2 more breaths. And then release the left hand down to the right hand. Bring both hands behind your back and clasp them and then lift up the chest, coming into humble warrior. Keeping the right leg straight. Taking 4 breaths here. And then releasing your hands, bring the hands down towards the right foot, slight bend in the right knee, and come back up to standing. Nice. And then we'll go to the other side. This time, right foot slightly out to the side. Step forward with your left foot, making sure that your hips and your shoulders are facing forward. Inhale, bend the left knee, lift both hands up towards the ceiling or the sky. Holding that beach ball up nice and 4 deep breaths. Keeping your body nice and steady, using your toes to help you balance. 2 more breaths. And then bring both hands down towards the mat. Place the block on the inside of your left foot. Place your hand on it. And then inhale, lift up the right hand up towards the sky or the ceiling. Looking up to the right hand, opening up through the chest and feeling a twist in your upper back. 4 breaths here. And then release the right hand down to be with the left, and then bring both hands behind your back, clasp them. Inhale, lift up into a humble warrior. This time the left leg is straight. 2 more breaths here. And then release both hands, come back up to standing. Give your legs a little shake. From here, we're going to go into a deep yogi squat, into garland pose. If you have a bolster or you have a towel or something you can put under your heels, do that and have your feet nice and wide and your toes pointing out. So we're going to inhale as we come into a deep squat. So if this is a little hard on your knees, you can just come halfway down, keeping your chest up. If you can go a little deeper, that's great too. Use your elbows to push your knees out. And just soften your eyes, tuning back into your breath. So our theme of our yoga today is being outside in nature. There's been a lot of satellites that have gone up recently, and a lot of people are finding that their sleep's a little disturbed. So being out in nature and amongst trees really helps to shield the body from some of that energy. So try and be out in nature as much as you can. Feeling this deep stretch through the inner thighs and through the hips, opening up through the hip area. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then placing your hands on the ground and lengthening your legs into a forward bend. And let your head fall heavy and your chest fall heavy. Connecting with the stretch down the back of the legs and creating a little bit more space in your lower back. Let your neck go nice and long, the crown of your head facing down towards the earth. Take 4 breaths here. So tuning back into your breath, noticing the rise and fall of your chest. And then on your next inhalation, slight bend in your knees. Inhale and come up to standing. Nice. And give your legs a little shake. Give your arms a little shake. So in line with our theme for today, let's do tree pose next. So opening up the right toes and moving your hips in a little circle, tuning into the energy and the anchor points underneath your right foot. Find something that you can gaze at to help you with your balance. And we're going to bring the left foot, the left toes next to the right foot. And you can lift them up either next to the calf or you can go above the knee, whatever works for you. If you need to be next to something to help with your balance, you can. So settling into the pose and then bring your hands to your heart. Softening your eyes, tuning back into your breath. Let's take 4 more breaths here. And last breath. And then release the foot back to the ground. Give both legs a little shake. And this time we'll go to the left side. So opening up the left toes and moving your hips in a circular direction. Tuning into the anchor points underneath your left foot and find your gazing point. Bring the right toe next to the left foot. From here, come into where you're comfortable today. If you're having your foot next to your thigh, open your knee out a little more and bring your hands to heart center. Looking at your gazing point, coming into stillness, and let's do 4 deep breaths here. And 1 more breath. And release that foot to the ground. Give it a little shake. Let's take it 1 step further. This is for you, Gilda, because your thighs are going to be needing a little bit more stretching. So we're going to open up the right toes. So we go to the right side. We're going to go into dancer pose. So we're going to bend the left knee and bring the left foot into the left hand. Bring the knees together. And then inhale, kick the left leg back and bring the right hand forward into dancer. Keeping your eye on your gazing point. 4 deep breaths, kicking that foot all the way back. Notice the deep stretch on the left thigh. And then release. Let's come to the other side. So opening up the toes on the left side, moving your hips in a little circle, bending the right knee and bringing the right foot into your right hand. Steadying yourself, find your gazing point. As you inhale, kick the right foot back and bring the left hand forward. Just taking some nice deep breaths here. Let's go 4 more breaths. Nice work, and then release. Give both legs a little shake. And we're going to go into a wide stance now on our mat. So go nice and wide. You're going to inhale, lift up your arms, stretch the front of your body all the way up to the ceiling or the sky. Exhale, fold forward. And bring your hands down to the mat. Heel toe your feet a little wider. And flatten your hands down on the mat and bring the crown of your head down facing towards the mat. Sliding your hands so they're in line with fingers in line with your toes. And coming into this inversion. Coming back to the breath. Let your head fall heavy and your chest fall heavy. So stretching out the back of your legs and your lower back. And just opening up through the spine. Let's do 4 more breaths here. And then inhale, lift up your chest, lengthen the spine. And then heel toe your feet a little closer together. Bend your knees, come up to standing. That's it. Beautiful. And bring your feet back together. Give them a little shake. Let's do a couple of rounds of sun salute. So we're going to come to the front of our mats this time. And we're going to inhale, lift up our hands, lift up our gaze. Reach up towards the ceiling. Exhale, folding forward. Bringing the hands down towards the mat. Inhale, lift chest, lengthen the spine. And exhale, step back into high plank, or bring your knees down to the mat into a lower plank, and then slowly lower your body down to the mat and place the top of your feet on the mat. Inhale, press up through your hands, lifting the front of your chest into an upward dog. And then exhale, tucking your toes under and coming into downward dog. Stretching the body. Lift your gaze and step forward into a forward bend. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, draw your chest into your knees. Slight bend in the knees. Inhale, come all the way back up to mountain pose and back to heart center. That's one round. Let's do 2 more rounds. You can go at your own pace or come with me. Inhale, lift the arms, lengthen the spine, lengthen the body. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, lift the spine, lengthen it, and then step back into high plank. Exhale as you slowly lower your body down to the mat. Bring the tops of your feet onto the mat. Press through the palms. Inhale, lift your chest up to upward dog. And then exhale, tucking the toes under, lifting the hips to downward dog. Take your gaze forward and then step forward into forward bend. Inhale, lift the chest, lengthen the spine. Exhale, draw your chest to your legs. And then inhale, come back up, all the way back up to mountain pose. You can have a rest if you want, or go 1 more round. So inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lengthen the spine. And exhale, step back into high plank. Slowly lower the body down to the mat as you exhale. Inhale, lift up through the chest into upward dog. And exhale, tuck your toes under, coming into downward dog. Taking your gaze forward and step forward into forward bend. Inhale, lift the chest. And exhale, draw the chest to the legs. And inhale, come back up to standing. And hands back to Anjali Mudra. Just taking a couple of breaths here, settling your breath back down again. And then coming down to the mat, coming down into a reclining position. So laying on your back, hug your knees up to your chest, and just draw your knees in a circle, loosening off any tension you might have in your lower back. And then dropping your right foot to the mat and crossing your left leg across the front of your right leg. And then hugging that left leg towards your chest, or hugging the right leg towards your chest. So coming into a reclining pigeon, and then lower your head down to the mat. Let's take some deep breaths here and notice a nice stretch through the left side, through the glute and the ITB. Drawing that right knee towards your chest. Let's take a couple more breaths here. And then release your hands, keep your leg crossed and let the right foot go down to the mat. Bring your hands straight out from your shoulders and drop your knees to the right, but gaze towards the left. So coming into a nice deep stretch. Just take 4 breaths here. On each exhale, allow your body to twist into it a little more. Right foot down to the mat. Left foot to the mat and cross the right leg across the front of the leg. Left. Hug your knees out towards your chest and drawing that right leg and left knee towards your chest. Allow your head to come back down to the mat and just taking some deep breaths here. Connecting with that deep stretch down the right side of the body. 2 more breaths here. And then release your hands. Allow the left foot to go to the mat. And then using your left hand, draw the right knee towards the left side, looking towards the right side. So coming into twist on the other side. And taking some deep breaths here. Let's take 4 breaths. Just relaxing into the twist a little more. Connecting to that stretch right down the right side of the body. Flattening out your shoulders on the mat so you get a stretch through the front of the chest. One more breath. And then release the knee, bring them back to center. Hug both knees to your chest and flush out your spine, taking them in a little circle. And then placing your feet back on the mat, placing your hands face down next to your body and draw your heels towards your buttocks. And we're going to inhale, lift up through the hips, bring the chest up towards the chin, bring our hands underneath us, clasp them, and then draw your shoulders together. Lift up as high as you can and taking 4 deep breaths here. Really squeezing through the buttocks, feeling that stretch through the front of the body. Two more breaths. And then slowly lower the spine down to the mat, release your hands. Hug the knees back up to the chest. And then from here, we're going to reach through the inside of our legs, and we're either going to grab onto the outside of the feet or to the ankles or the shins, and having the knees bent, take the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling or the sky into happy baby. And coming back to the breathing, flattening out the spine. Nice stretch through the inner thighs and the hips. 2 more breaths. And then release your hands. Allow your feet to come back down to the mat and bring your feet to the outside edges of the mat and hands next to you on the mat, next to your hips. Bring both knees to the left side. Look to the right. And then inhale, bring both knees to the right, looking to the left. It's going from side to side like a windscreen. And then coming up into seated position. From here, we're going to have our buttocks flat on the mat and our legs straight out in front of us. We're going to flex both feet and reach forward. And either hold onto your toes or your ankles, towards your big toes, and feeling that nice stretch down the back of the legs and also the lower back. Let's take a couple more breaths here. Just relaxing into the stretch. Coming back to your breathing. One more breath. And then release your hands, coming back up to a seated position. And this time we're going to bend the left knee and bring the left foot inside the right thigh. Come up onto your sit bones and really lengthen your spine. Flex the right foot. And we're going to inhale, lift our arms up, stretching up. And then exhale, fold forward. We bring those hands down to the toes or the ankles or the shins. If you find that your left knee is high up and it's not flat on the ground, you can move the left foot a little bit further down the right leg or put something underneath the left knee to support it. Gazing towards the right big toe and taking some nice deep breaths. Feeling the stretch down the left side of the body and also down the back of the right leg. 2 more breaths here. And then release your hands, come back up to sitting and swap your legs over. So this time, legs a little shake and bring into position right next to the inner thigh on the left side and lifting up onto your sit bones, nice tall spine. If you find your right knee is up high, you can place a block under it just to support it. And we're going to inhale, lift up our hands and exhale, folding forward. So the left foot is flexed. And you might notice a difference on this side or more flexible. Coming into the stretch and back to your breath. Let's take 4 deep breaths here. So the left foot is flexed, feeling a stretch down the back of the left leg, but also in the ITB area on the right side and around the hip. One more breath. And then release your hands, come back up to sitting position. Bring both legs out the front again. Give them a little shake. Coming up nice and tall on your spine again, on your sit bones. Inhale, lift up your arms and exhale, fold forward and bring your hands down to your feet or your ankles or your shins, gazing at the right toes and noticing the difference this time to last time you're in this position. Taking 4 deep breaths here, really stretching out the back of your legs and your lower back. And then release your hands. And we're going to come into a butterfly position. So we're going to lay on our back with our soles of our feet together, knees out to the side. So nice flat back. You can bring your hands to the hip area or to the thighs, whatever works best for you. Coming back into that nice reclining open butterfly position, feeling that stretch through the inner thigh area. Softening your eyes and coming back to breathing. Two more breaths. And then bring your knees back together, soles of your feet onto the mat. Hug your knees to your chest. Just releasing your spine in Apanasana. And our next position, we're going to take our legs up. So you can position yourself next to a wall or a cupboard or a bed or a tree, whatever you have. You can place a block or a bolster underneath your lower back area, or you can come up into a shoulder stand, whatever works for you. So inhaling and raising the legs up. If you're in the shoulder stand, drawing your elbows a little closer together. Circling your ankles, having them feel nice and light. Just taking some deep breaths here. You might like to take your feet out nice and wide. Just coming back to the theme of our practice about nature and being among trees to help us protect us from all of the heightened energy that's around at the moment with all the satellites that are being released, disturbing everyone's sleep. And then bring the soles of your feet together, knees out nice and wide. Couple more breaths here. And then you might like to bring the feet over the top of your head towards the ground behind your head into plow pose. Two more breaths here. And on the next inhale, slowly lower your spine down to the mat. And lie in Savasana. So you might like to have your legs bent to protect your lower back, or you might like to lay your legs down onto the mat, palms facing up. If you have a bolster, you can place it underneath your knees to protect your lower back. If you have a blanket, you can place it underneath your head or underneath your lower back. And if you have an eye pillow, you might like to place it over your eyes. Relaxing into Savasana, taking 3 deep relaxing breaths. We're going to lay here and enjoy our relaxing Savasana for around 5 minutes, enjoying all the energy of your yoga practice, feeling the support that's coming up through the earth as you breathe up the earth energy. Starting to tune back into your breathing and wiggling your fingers and toes, feeling the earth underneath your body, stretching out your legs and your hands, slowly rolling to one side and coming into a comfortable seated position. The yoga quote for today: you cannot do yoga. Yoga is your natural state. What you can do, yoga actually brings you into your natural state and reveals to you where you're resisting your natural state. So you're not really doing yoga, you're actually just bringing your body back to your natural state with yoga. So coming back to your soul, coming home to who you are. Thank you for your and just body a little bit. Let's bring our hands to Anjali Mudra and then bring our hands up to our forehead for kind thoughts, for our lips for kind words, and to our heart for a kind heart. Namaste.